दक्षिणामूर्तिसारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमां रमणाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये आङ्गिकं भुवनं यस्य वाचिकं सर्ववाङ्मयम् आहार्यं चन्द्रतारादि तं नमः सात्विकं शिवम् ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय। नमो रमना to everyone.
एकमक्षरं हृदि निरन्तरं भासते स्वयं लिख्यते कथं हृदयकुहरमध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् ह्यहमहमिति साक्षात् आत्मरूपेण भाति। हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वता मज्जता वा पवनचलनरोधात् आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम्। देहं मृण्मयवज्जडात्मकम् अहं बुद्धिर्न तस्यास्त्यतो नाहं तत्तदभावसुप्तिसमये सिद्धात्मसद्भावतः कोऽहं भावयुतः कुतो वरधिया दृष्ट्वात्मनिष्ठात्मना सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं। सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं। Namo Ramana. We will now have the chanting of Upadesa Saram by Uma Sripathy.
नमो रमणा। वायुरोधना लीयते मना जालपक्षिवद्रोदसाधनं चित्तवायवा चित्क्रियायुताः शाखयोर्द्वयी शक्तिमूलका लयविनाशने उभयरोधने लयगतं पुनर्भवति नोऽमृतम् प्राणबन्धनात् लीनमानसम् एकचिन्तना नाशमेत्यद नष्टमानसो उत्कृष्टयोगिन कृत्यमस्ति किं स्वस्तितिं यत दृश्यवारितं चित्तमात्मना चित्वदर्शनं तत्वदर्शनं मानसं तु किं मार्गणे कृते नैव मानसं मार्ग आर्जवात् वृत्तयस्त्वहं वृत्तिमाश्रिताः वृत्तयो मनो विद्यहं मन अहमयं कुतो भवति चिन्वत ऐपतत्यहं निजविचारणम् अहमिनाशभा जहमहं तया स्फुरति हृत्स्वयं परमपूर्णसत्. नमो रमण.
I request all of you to please put on your videos. Thank you.
Namo Ramana. We will now have 4 songs from Ramananjali Sangeetam. The first song will be presented by Srimati V. Radha. The second song will be presented by Pratibha. The third song will be presented by Savitri Krishnan and Jaisriram Krishnan. Fourth song will be presented by Revathi Sankar.
Namo Ramana to all. Today I have taken a song, Ramana Tiruppugal, composed by Sri KVS Mama, KV Subramanyam. It is in Ragam Hamsanandi, set to Kanda Chapatanam. அங்கும் இங்கும் அலைந்துடலும் மனதை அழிப்போனேன் பொங்கி எழும் பொல்லா சிந்தை திரளை ஒழிப்போனே அங்கும் இங்கும் அலைந்துடலும் மனதை அழிப்போனேன் பொங்கி எழும் பொல்லா சிந்தை திரளை ஒழிப்போனே இங்கும் அலைந்துடலும் மனதை அழிப்போனே பொங்கி எழும் பொல்லா சிந்தை திரளை ஒழிப்போனே அங்கும் இங்கும் அலைந்துடலும் மனதை அழிப்போனே ஜட உடல் நானெனும் அஜ்ஞான பித்தை போக்குவோனே திடமான நாம் உணர்வு எனும் அறிவை அருள்வோனே ஜட உடல் நானெனும் அஜ்ஞான பித்தை போக்குவோனே திடமான நாம் உணர்வு எனும் அறிவை அருள்வோனே அங்கும் இங்கும் அலைந்துடலும் மனதை அழிப்போனே நான் எனும் பேயகந்தை இருளை நீக்குவோனே நான் என ஆன்ம ஒளிய நம்முள் என்றும் ஒளிர்வோனே நான் எனும் பேயகந்தை இருளை நீக்குவோனே நான் என ஆன்ம ஒளிய நம்முள் என்றும் ஒளிர்வோனே சதி சுக அமுத கடலில் அன்பரை ஆழ்த்துவோனே அக்குவித மோன ஆனந்த ரமண பெருமானே சதி சுக அமுத கடலில் அன்பரை ஆழ்த்துவோனே அக்குவித மோன ஆனந்த ரமண பெருமானே ரமண பெருமானே ரமண பெருமானே. நமோ ரமண.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. This is a Kannada translation of Sri Murugana Swami's song Vaitapattu. The translation is by R.N. Jaigopal. And this song describes how Bhagwan alone governs and directs everything, and he alone knows what and where of everything. ತಾಯಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಮತೆಯ ನಿಟ್ಟ ತಂದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಜ್ಞಾನವ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ವೇದಗಳು ನಿಜ ನುಡಿಗೊಲುಗೈದ ವೆಂಕಟ ಸತ್ಯ ಸ್ವರೂಪ. ತಾಯಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಮತೆಯ ನಿಟ್ಟ ತಂದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಜ್ಞಾನವ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ವೇದಗಳು ನಿಜ ನುಡಿಗೊಲುಗೈದ ವೆಂಕಟ ಸತ್ಯ ಸ್ವರೂಪ. ವೆಂಕಟ ಸತ್ಯ ಸ್ವರೂಪ. ಹೃದಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ನೇಹವ ಇಟ್ಟ ಸ್ನೇಹದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾಳನು ಇಟ್ಟ. ಹೃದಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ನೇಹವ ಇಟ್ಟ ಸ್ನೇಹದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾಳನು ಇಟ್ಟ. ಬಾಳಿಗೊಂದು ಅರ್ಥವ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ವೆಂಕಟ ಚಿನ್ಮಯ ರೂಪ. ಬಾಳಿಗೊಂದು ಅರ್ಥವ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ವೆಂಕಟ ಚಿನ್ಮಯ ರೂಪ. ವೆಂಕಟ ಚಿನ್ಮಯ ರೂಪ. ತಾಯಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಮತೆಯ ನಿಟ್ಟ ತಂದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಜ್ಞಾನವ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ವೇದಗಳು ನಿಜ ನುಡಿಗೊಲುಗೈದ ವೆಂಕಟ ಸತ್ಯ ಸ್ವರೂಪ. ವೆಂಕಟ ಸತ್ಯ ಸ್ವರೂಪ. ನಾಲಿಗೆಗೆ ಸತ್ಯವ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ನ್ಯಾಯಕ್ಕೆ ಮೆರುಗನು ಕೊಟ್ಟ. ನಾಲಿಗೆಗೆ ಸತ್ಯವ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ನ್ಯಾಯಕ್ಕೆ ಮೆರುಗನು ಕೊಟ್ಟ. ನಂಬಿದವರಿಗೆ ಅಭಯ ಕೊಟ್ಟ. ನಂಬಿದವರಿಗೆ ಅಭಯ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ವೆಂಕಟ ಆನಂದ ರೂಪ. ನಂಬಿದವರಿಗೆ ಅಭಯ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ವೆಂಕಟ ಆನಂದ ರೂಪ. ವೆಂಕಟ ಆನಂದ ರೂಪ. ತಾಯಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಮತೆಯ ನಿಟ್ಟ ತಂದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಜ್ಞಾನವ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ವೇದಗಳು ನಿಜ ನುಡಿಗೊಲುಗೈದ ವೆಂಕಟ ಸತ್ಯ ಸ್ವರೂಪ. ವೆಂಕಟ ಸತ್ಯ ಸ್ವರೂಪ. ಹಳತಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೊಸತನು ಇಟ್ಟ ಸಿಂಪಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮುತ್ತನು ಇಟ್ಟ. ಹಳತಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೊಸತನು ಇಟ್ಟ ಸಿಂಪಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮುತ್ತನು ಇಟ್ಟ. ಭಕ್ತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನೆಮ್ಮದಿ ಇಟ್ಟ ವೆಂಕಟ ಮುಕ್ತಿ ಸ್ವರೂಪ. ಭಕ್ತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನೆಮ್ಮದಿ ಇಟ್ಟ ವೆಂಕಟ ಮುಕ್ತಿ ಸ್ವರೂಪ. ವೆಂಕಟ ಮುಕ್ತಿ ಸ್ವರೂಪ. ತಾಯಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಮತೆಯ ನಿಟ್ಟ ತಂದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಜ್ಞಾನವ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ವೇದಗಳು ನಿಜ ನುಡಿಗೊಲುಗೈದ ವೆಂಕಟ ಸತ್ಯ ಸ್ವರೂಪ. ವೆಂಕಟ ಸತ್ಯ ಸ್ವರೂಪ. ತಾಯಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಮತೆಯ ನಿಟ್ಟ ತಂದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಜ್ಞಾನವ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ವೇದಗಳು ನಿಜ ನುಡಿಗೊಲುಗೈದ ವೆಂಕಟ ಸತ್ಯ ಸ್ವರೂಪ. ವೆಂಕಟ ಸತ್ಯ ಸ್ವರೂಪ. ವೆಂಕಟ ಸತ್ಯ ಸ್ವರೂಪ. ನಮೋ ರಮಣ.
ಅಮ್ಮ ನೋಡೋ ಅರುಣಗಿರಿಯನು ಅಮ್ಮ ನೋಡು ಅರುಣಗಿರಿಯನು ಸದಾ ಮನವ ಸೆಳೆಯುವುದನು ಅಮ್ಮ ನೋಡು ಅರುಣಗಿರಿಯನು ಅಮ್ಮ ನೋಡು ಅರುಣಗಿರಿಯನು ಸದಾ ಮನವ ಸೆಳೆಯುವುದನು ಅಮ್ಮ ನೋಡು ಅರುಣಗಿರಿಯನು ಎಂತ ಶಾಂತಗಿರಿಯಿದು ಎಂತ ಶಾಂತಗಿರಿಯಿದು ನಮ್ಮ ಶಾಂತಗೊಳಿಸಬೇಕು ಎಂದು ಶಾಂತಗೊಳಿಸಬೇಕು ಎಂದು ಎನ್ನುವ ಆಸೆ ತರುವುದನು ಅಮ್ಮ ನೋಡು ಅರುಣಗಿರಿಯನು ಸದಾ ಮನವ ಸೆಳೆಯುವುದನು ಅಮ್ಮ ನೋಡು ಅರುಣಗಿರಿಯನು ನನ್ನ ಎದೆಯ ಕತ್ತರಮಣ ನನ್ನ ಎದೆಯ ಕತ್ತರಮಣ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಶಿಖರವೆನುವ ಕಣ್ಣಿನಿಂದ ಶಿಖರವೆನುವ ಕಣ್ಣಿನಿಂದ ಬೆಳಗುತ್ತಿರುವ ನಲ್ಲವೇ ಅಮ್ಮ ನೋಡು ಅರುಣಗಿರಿಯನು ಅಮ್ಮ ನೋಡು ಅರುಣಗಿರಿಯನು ಸದಾ ಮನವ ಸೆಳೆಯುವುದನು ಅಮ್ಮ ನೋಡು ಅರುಣಗಿರಿಯನು ಉರಿಯ ಸುತ್ತು ಪತಂಗ ಉರಿಯ ಸುತ್ತು ಪತಂಗ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಉರುಳಿ ಅಳಿವ ರೀತಿ ಅರುಣಗಿರಿಯ ಸುತ್ತಿದಿತ್ತ ಅರುಣಗಿರಿಯ ಸುತ್ತಿದಿತ್ತ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ನನಗೆ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಅಮ್ಮ ನೋಡು ಅರುಣಗಿರಿಯನು ಅಮ್ಮ ನೋಡು ಅರುಣಗಿರಿಯನು ಸದಾ ಮನವ ಸೆಳೆಯುವುದನು ಅಮ್ಮ ನೋಡು ಅರುಣಗಿರಿಯನು ಅಮ್ಮ ನೋಡು ಅರುಣಗಿರಿಯನು ಅಮ್ಮ ನೋಡು ಅರುಣಗಿರಿಯನು ಓಂ ನಮೋ ಭಗವತೆ ಶ್ರೀರಮಣಾಯ
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Beautifully, Bhagavan's composition was sung by Savitri and Jaisriram. Kannada translation of Bhagavan's song. What is this Arunagiri? Bhagavan has said, look at Arunagiri, Amma Nodu Arunagiri. It keeps pulling every heart, every bhakta to itself. How did it come? This was a huge pillar of light which didn't have a beginning or an end. And this light was the beginning and the end was being found, tried to be found by Brahma and Vishnu. But then, beautifully Kanakama says, Brahma representing the knowledge, Vishnu representing the wealth, possession. Both have to surrender, both fail when it comes to the infinite bliss. Only when we leave them, only when we abandon them, lose the grip which we are having so hard on them, when we lose that grip, we find that light which is the unlimited, which doesn't have any boundaries. That bliss is got by us. And this is the Sukshma Vidya. This is the subtle knowledge which we get from this. The subtlest of the subtle is this Atma Swarupa. And that is there within us. That boundless, that limitless light, Bhagavan says, is nowhere else other than within us, inside us. Hridaya Kuhara Madhye, it is like, it is shining always within us. And he is none other than the Ardhanarishwara, who is both the aspects of action and non-action, Achala as well as Chanchala. Only when there is Achala, there can be movement. The Shakti moves from the Achala. Only when there is silence, we can talk. So, this is the form of Ardhanarishwara. We know Arunachala is Ardhanarishwara Swarupa. So, on the day of Margashira, it was that they both got united, and that is when the light was seen, and that is when he could see the form of Arunachala as it is today, the hill Achala. And it is the Nada Swarupa in Bhagavan as Arunachala Spurana. It was always shining as Arunachala, Arunachala, Arunachala. Even before he could say the words Amma and Appa, the word Arunachala, the Spurana Arunachala, was shining in the child. And that Arunachala one day was revealed to this boy by an elderly person from Arunachala. He said that this is a place on this earth. You can go and visit that place. From then, this young boy had that yearning to go and be at Arunachala. So he left Madurai and he was at Arunachala. It is the beautiful Suvarna Linga. It is the Linga, it is the hill where all the Suras and Naras worship Arunachala there. And this is the place, they say, Smaranat Arunachalam. Remember, just remember Arunachala, and there it is, he gives us mukti. There is no birth again when once we are thinking of Arunachala. That is when all the bondage is gone. And then all the yogis, everybody go to Arunachala. If you go to Arunachala, there are so many sadhus who are there, so many siddhas who are there, just to have a glimpse of that wonderful hill Arunachala. And it is here, it is the Bhumi in Idayam, it is the heart of the whole earth. And here is where we see Ramana shining as Ramaneshwara Mahalingam. Arunachala, Arunachaleshwara Lingam. This is a song written by Sadhuam Swami on Arunachala Ramana. A wonderful song. I'll be presenting the Kannada translation of this. ಆದಿಯಂತ್ಯಗಳು ಇಲ್ಲದ ಲಿಂಗ ರಮಣ ರೂಪ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಲಿಂಗ. ಆದಿಯಂತ್ಯಗಳು ಇಲ್ಲದ ಲಿಂಗ ರಮಣ ರೂಪ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಲಿಂಗ. ಆದಿಯಂತ್ಯಗಳು ಇಲ್ಲದ ಲಿಂಗ ಹರಿಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ನೋಡಿದ ಅಗ್ನಿಲಿಂಗ. ಆದಿಯಂತ್ಯಗಳು ಇಲ್ಲದ ಲಿಂಗ ಹರಿಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ನೋಡಿದ ಅಗ್ನಿಲಿಂಗ. ಜ್ಯೋತಿ ಸದಾಶಿವ ಜ್ಯೋತಿರ್ಲಿಂಗ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮ ಆತ್ಮಸ್ವರೂಪದ ಲಿಂಗ. ಜ್ಯೋತಿ ಸದಾಶಿವ ಜ್ಯೋತಿರ್ಲಿಂಗ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮ ಆತ್ಮಸ್ವರೂಪದ ಲಿಂಗ. ಅರ್ಧನಾರೀಶ್ವರ ಈ ಶಿವಲಿಂಗ ಮಾರ್ಗಶಿರದಲ್ಲಿ ಉದ್ಭವಲಿಂಗ. ಅರ್ಧನಾರೀಶ್ವರ ಈ ಶಿವಲಿಂಗ ಮಾರ್ಗಶಿರದಲ್ಲಿ ಉದ್ಭವಲಿಂಗ. ನಾದ ಸ್ವರೂಪ ಈಶ್ವರಲಿಂಗ ರಮಣ ರೂಪ ಅರುಣಾಚಲಲಿಂಗ. ನಾದ ಸ್ವರೂಪ ಈಶ್ವರಲಿಂಗ ರಮಣ ರೂಪ ಅರುಣಾಚಲಲಿಂಗ. ಆದಿಯಂತ್ಯಗಳು ಇಲ್ಲದ ಲಿಂಗ ರಮಣ ರೂಪ ಅರುಣಾಚಲಲಿಂಗ. ಸುಂದರ ಸುವರ್ಣ ಶೋಭಿತಲಿಂಗ ಶುದ್ಧ ಮನದಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಖೋದ್ಭವಲಿಂಗ. ಸುಂದರ ಸುವರ್ಣ ಶೋಭಿತಲಿಂಗ ಶುದ್ಧ ಮನದಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಖೋದ್ಭವಲಿಂಗ. ಸುರನರ ಪೂಜಿತ ಸುರುಚಿರಲಿಂಗ ಜನನ ಮರಣ ವಿಮುಕ್ತಿದ ಲಿಂಗ. ಸುರನರ ಪೂಜಿತ ಸುರುಚಿರಲಿಂಗ ಜನನ ಮರಣ ವಿಮುಕ್ತಿದ ಲಿಂಗ. ಬಂಧ ವಿಮೋಚಕ ಈ ಶಿವಲಿಂಗ ಯೋಗಿ ಜನಾನಂದ ಈ ಶಿವಲಿಂಗ. ಬಂಧ ವಿಮೋಚಕ ಈ ಶಿವಲಿಂಗ ಯೋಗಿ ಜನಾನಂದ ಈ ಶಿವಲಿಂಗ. ಈ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಪವಿತ್ರ ಲಿಂಗ ರಮಣ ರೂಪ ಅರುಣಾಚಲಲಿಂಗ. ಈ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಪವಿತ್ರ ಲಿಂಗ ರಮಣ ರೂಪ ಅರುಣಾಚಲಲಿಂಗ. ಆದಿಯಂತ್ಯಗಳು ಇಲ್ಲದ ಲಿಂಗ ರಮಣ ರೂಪ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಲಿಂಗ. ಆದಿಯಂತ್ಯಗಳು ಇಲ್ಲದ ಲಿಂಗ ರಮಣ ರೂಪ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಲಿಂಗ. ರಮಣ ರೂಪ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಲಿಂಗ. ರಮಣ ರೂಪ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಲಿಂಗ. Namo Ramana. We will now have the sharing and reading from the book Ramana My Muruganar by Sri Nandakumarji.
Namo Ramana. In this, the book reading segment of our satsang, we continue our gleanings, our reading from Ramana's Muruganar, a birth centenary compilation, edited and compiled by our founder president, Sri A.R. Natarajanji. We are in the account of Professor K. Swaminathan sir, and his account is entitled The Maharishi and Muruganar. We backtrack a little bit for the sake of continuity and start again. Father and son. The West, which knows nothing of Shiva, conceives of time as something flowing from the past into the present. For us, Shiva is eternity, the timeless, the pure, formless awareness, which is the sole reality, the whole of the unknown future, forever freshly flowing into time. Confronting this current of Shiva stands Muruga with his 12 eyes and 12 arms in the present. Swimming upstream, we Jivas, we have to live in the living present the meeting point of the two eternities of the whole of the past and the unknown future, which is Shiva. Only the very foolish old people live in the dead past. Shiva, pure, timeless awareness, operates in and through Muruga, the human god divine, the glimpse of moksha here and now, known in every heroic moment to lovers, poets, and warriors. The Christian creed says truly, none can go to the Father except through the Son Kumara. Muruga might have been the origin of a tribal god. For the poet, he is the perennial play of the light eternal, that is Shiva, on the swift-moving waters of Prakriti, which is the flow of life in the present. That is Muruga, he says. So the professor is not only a professor of English, he is also a great philosopher. We continue. In the Indian tradition, the two ultimate values are truth with its clarity and beauty with its manifold power to please and guide us human beings. Vishnu and Shiva, beauty and truth, are the empirical and transcendental aspects of the one reality. Because other nations have lost the relish for eternity and the meanings and right management of their mythology, we need not impoverish ourselves by starving our aesthetic sensibility and denying or suppressing the voice of power, poetry, and the conversation of mankind. Both the Saguna and Nirguna are possible in Indian approach, he says. Mythology provides a broad, safe bridge for the two-way traffic between the real, which is Shiva, and the actual, which is the empirical. Properly handled by poets and widely enjoyed by the childlike minds of the Jnanis, it can work wonders. It is the surest means, that is being in that present, it is the surest means of communicating to the common people the most profound of truths, of transforming the consciousness of whole communities. Only those who are living in that living present, who have approached the timeless Shiva through the Saguna of the Guru or Muruga, they are the ones who can interpret the reality to the rest of the denizens, he says, as poetry or as the statements of truth. While Muruganar, the worshipper of beauty, revels in an endless riot of metaphor and music, the Maharishi, the worshipper of truth, breaks his silence once in a while and speaks in clear words of the eternal now, which is the fact behind the fiction we call time. Clinging to the present, past and future stand, he says. That is, Nigalvinai Patri, Irappedaru Nirpa. Clinging to the present, past and future stand. The past was present, and so will the future be. The present alone is the time in truth. Trying to know the past or the future, instead of seizing the truth of time today, is like trying to count without the unit one. This is verse 15 in 40 verses. How Bhagavan talks in terms of truth, not merely poetry, is what he is bringing across, and how Murugana flows in that beauty of the heart through so many verses. Heaven, if anywhere, is now, here on earth, or else it is nowhere. Heaven, if anywhere, is now, here on earth, or else it is nowhere. The transcendental real is immanent in the actual present. The transcendental real, the Shiva who is beyond time, is present, immanent here, inside us. Awareness is all, is the next heading. Father and son having ended. The Nirguna has to be approached through the Saguna only, through sadhana in the living present. Awareness is all. Muruganar declares, destroy the false duality of this world and that world. Destroy the false duality of this world and that world. Seeing the true oneness of all being, the joy of right awareness. This alone is Shivahood. Irundolir. The existence consciousness is the single truth of Shivahood, he says. Whatever is vital and worth preserving in the past the bonds of love and mutual obligation that bind all living beings together, the dharma, which is power, the compulsion of beauty, the dynamism of goodness and morality in conduct, the joy of awareness, are preserved out of love, not out of fear. It is the love that preserves all these qualities in creation, he says. He himself being a poet, he can go into all these as the aesthetic sense. The Maharishi recommended Tirumuruga Trippadai and Shiva Puranam for daily Parayana. He is drawing from the instructions Bhagavan has given for conduct of the ashram to show that these are the poetry and the expression of Saguna are very much allowed and permissible. The Maharishi recommended Tirumuruga Trippadai and Shiva Puranam for daily Parayana. He loved the poetry of words and the poetry of earth and the poetry of action. He clung to Arunachala, where Shiva, the god of pure awareness, abides forever as a visible, tangible, unmoving presence, thus confirming the poetic faith in the perennially renewed freshness of the Shiva cult as the channel of pure awareness. The presence in each human heart of the Sun of pure awareness and its power to illumine and enrich our human life on earth is no mere mythological fancy. Bhagavan is both pure awareness and the aesthetic sense present in us, he says. The unique and most precious contribution of the Tamil genius to the development of a universal faith founded firmly on spiritual experience, which is at once the source and end of all religious traditions, is the concept of Valarivu, the heavenly light of unity that lurks unnoticed in every human heart. Valarivu is a term used for God in Tamil literature. Valarivan, he said, Valarivan thought, Natral Thorarenin. There is no point in any kind of learning if one does not learn to surrender to the Valarivan, is one of the verses in Tirukural. In the human heart, this Valariva is present. Shiva, who embodies this transcendental awareness, is the destroyer of dualistic knowledge. When Valariva is attained as sheer bliss, with no in here and out there, one has become Shiva, heavenly awareness, featureless and frontierless. The elimination of the ego is not merely painless, it is positively joyful, it is positively joyous. The copious outpourings of Muruganar only express the irrepressible joy of the poet as he dives and swims and bathes in the ocean of bliss, which is Shivananda. The copious outpourings of Muruganar only express the irrepressible joy of the poet as he dives, swims, and bathes in the ocean of bliss, which is Shivananda. He's quoting here a poem, a parrot endlessly repeating again and again the same refrain. I sing because joy overflows as flow it must in music sweet. A parrot endlessly repeating again and again the same refrain. I sing because the joy overflows as flow it must in sweet music. That perimbam, that bliss of aesthetic sense is outpouring in Muruganar, that he cannot contain it. And he is singing again and again the praise of Bhagavan and about his own experience of the self in poem after poem, about which we can read in Swaminathan sir's words in the next satsang, continuing from this poem onwards. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya. Namo.
Namo Ramana. Thank you. We will now have a session of self-enquiry led by Sri Dileep Simha.
Namo Ramana. Dhyaye Sharada Chandra Sundaramukam Tamra Ravindekshanam Bhaktabhishtavarabhaya pradakaram Kaupinamatrodjvalam Svatmanam Tarasanubhuti Vivasham Sarvanavadyangakam Shrimantam Shri Ramaneshwaram Guruvaram Yogasana Dhyasitam Dhyayet Shri Ramaneshwaram Dhyayet Shri Ramaneshwaram Dhyayet Shri Ramaneshwaram Hridaya Kuhara Madhye Kevalam Brahmamatram Yahamahamiti Sakshatatmarupena Bhati Hridaya Vishamanasa Swam Chinvata Majjatava Pavada Chalanarodha Atmanishto Bhavatvam Namo Ramana. We will start the evening Atma Vicharam by listening to Bhagavan's Upadesham and meditating on it. I'll be reading his Upadesham from the book Guruvachaka Kovai, from the chapter Experience of the Truth. The topic is Omniscience. Verse 926. Because you do not know any being other than yourself, Atma Swarupa, only the pure attribute-free consciousness that shines as fullness, without any limitation, is in truth the omniscience that excels unequaled. It is not the other knowledge that comprises simultaneously and completely knowing events in the three times, past, present, and future, and the three worlds. Here, Bhagavan is drawing our attention to any knowing through the instruments of mind or intellect or senses is not really omniscience, because in all of that we have already assumed something separate. The mind being separate, the intellect being separate, and the senses and the body being separate. Even in that, if we conduct a mental circus, so to say, to make sure that everything is one and the same, but fundamentally we have already created subtly a difference. So we may be trying to think everything is one and the same, but that is not the way the omniscience works, says Bhagavan. The true omniscience is the nature of the self, where it sees nothing apart. Only in that Atma Mauna, in the true silence, where there is nothing that is perceived as separate. In that alone is the true omniscience, Bhagavan says. It's not knowing in anything about the past, present, or the future. So, as we continue our sadhana, even though initially we may see omniscience as something very special to an Ishvara somewhere way above in the sky, and later when we come across our Guru or a Mahatma, and when we see him revealing something about our present or past or future, then we may come down from the heavens into this person being the real person of knowing everything. But as we continue our sadhana, the spiritual quest, we become very, very clear that the real omniscience is the naturalness of the self, where there is nothing separate, where the self has nothing separate, and therefore there is nothing to be known or done. And to that is the real union with that truth which is everything. So that is why Bhagavan is saying that is the highest omniscience, or that is the true omniscience, nothing else that we perceive through the mediums of senses or mind or anything. And in order for us to have that experience of the omniscience here and now, Bhagavan has devised the Atma Vichara. Whenever we see something apart and see that and try to do something or know something, he asks us to diligently inquire to whom is this. And when that is done, we recognize it is for me. The first and the foremost division, owning to I being the consciousness limited to the body. That is the first division. So therefore he asks us to inquire, who am I? And when we really go in search of what do I really refer to as I, and go looking at the source of the I, we get in touch with that Atma, the Mauna, the real pure being consciousness. And that, in its natural state, has nothing set apart from it. And therefore it is the real oneness, the real knowing. And that is the real omniscience, says Bhagavan. With Bhagavan's immense grace, for the next 10 minutes, no matter how many thoughts come, no matter whatever is the nature of those thoughts, we should diligently focus on inquiring to whom is this, who am I, so that we can transcend the imaginary division and come back to that natural oneness with his abundant grace. For the next 10 minutes, let us all practice Atma Vichara. Om Namo Bhagavate Venkatesaya. Orna.
Namo Ramana. We will now have the sharing of Ramana Chatvarimshat by Sri Ujwal Jagadeesh.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. In this part of the satsang, we have been meditating on the verses of Ramana Chatvarimshat, which has been composed by Kavya Kanta Vasishta Ganapati Muni, and they have been compiled and given the title Ramana Chatvarimshat by Ramana himself. And we were on the verse 38, where Ganapati Muni sings, Soham jato ramana bhagavan padayoste davishto yatyapyasmin mahati samaye shaktilasye pravrite suryasyeva jvalita mahaso dhuragamnata shaktim Vishwasyagram tava mama mano vita dukkam tatapi Ramanam Gurum namami Ramanam Gurum namami Naniruve Ramana Devana Padagala Agali ಈಗ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತಿಹ ಶಕ್ತಿಲಾಸ್ಯದ ಮಹತ್ತಾದ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಸೂರ್ಯನಂತಹ ಜ್ವಲಿಪ ಶಕ್ತಿಯು ಬಹುದೂರ ಹರಡಬಲ್ಲ ವಿಶ್ವೋತ್ತಮನೇ ನಿನ್ನ ನೆನೆಯೂತ ಮನದ ಅಳಲು ಅಳಿಯಿತು ರಮಣ ಗುರುವಿಗೆ ನಮನ ರಮಣ ಗುರುವಿಗೆ ನಮನ. Ganapati Muni says, Oh Ramana, I am very, very far from your feet. At this auspicious time where there is this Shakti Lasya, the Ananda Lahari is spreading in your presence. At this point when that is happening, I am far away from you, says in that viraha from the presence of the Guru. Ganapati Muni sings the first two lines. I am reminded of an instance when it was one of the Jayantis and one of the devotees was not able to attend the Jayanti in the presence of Bhagavan Ramana. So the devotees who were speaking, they were wondering, shouldn't that great devotee be here on this auspicious day of Jayanti when Bhagavan is here? Should we not be together under the feet of Bhagavan on this such special occasions? And Ramana commented, where else can you gather other than the feet of Bhagavan? It is to say that whenever the devotees meet, wherever there is satsanga, or whenever there is a sadhana that is done, at that point, there is the feet of the divine Guru ever available. So it reminds me that the feet of Bhagavan is everywhere. If the feet of Bhagavan is everywhere, the Shakti Lasya, which Ganapati Muni is describing here, is happening everywhere, every moment. I have heard of this saying which says, do what you can, where you are, with what you have. So this is very beautiful phrase which I heard and very, very inspiring for me. But Ramana is telling me You are at the right place. Wherever you are, that is the right place. And you have everything that is required, because nothing is required from outside to attain what we really want. We want that limitless bliss which we already are. We have all the resources that is required to attain. And what we need to do is only to turn towards that limitless bliss which is shining as our very nature. But we, as the next two lines, the thing is, we think ourselves very, very far from this true nature that we are. That's why in the Nayanmars we have the story of a devotee called Nandanar. And Nandanar was born in a low caste. To say that, to think that we are very not matured to attain that supreme state. So he felt that he could not reach that supreme state, but he had the great desire to go and have the darshan of the Nataraja in Chidambaram. What is the Chidambaram? Chidambaram is our heart, where the self is shining and dancing constantly, the dance of I. But we think that we have to travel very, very far to reach Chidambaram. And we don't even know whether we will get entry in Chidambaram. So there's a song written in the Nandanar Charitram by Gopala Krishna Bharati, where Nandanar is standing in the beginning of the street. And when these, in the olden days, it is described in that story that when these parayas, they had to enter the street, they had to announce that I am coming, so that all the people used to go inside their house. It was considered inauspicious to see somebody from that caste, but he did not communicate with the people in the street. But Nandanar, he writes as if he's communicating directly with Shiva himself. He's not asking permission from others to enter the street to reach Chidambaram, but he's asking Shiva himself, Varugalamo Ayya Arhinil Nindre Kondadavum Adi Kondadavum Varugalamo Ayya. And he continues, I have been born as Paraya, and I have not done even this little bit punyam. I have not done. Can such a one have the darshan of Shiva's dance? Can I also be with you and dance and sing in that joy? Says Nandanar in that song, to make us realize that we also think we are Nandanar. We think that we are born in that situation that we are not able to reach that supreme state. So we find some escapism to not do the sadhana. Buddha says the only greatest obstacle in a sadhana is that to start the sadhana. To say, how can I start? I am not eligible. I don't think I can attain. That is the first obstacle and biggest obstacle. If you can cross that, then you can attain the supreme grace of the Guru. To describe this, there's a beautiful story of a disciple of Shankaracharya whose name was Giri. He was a brahmachari who had great faith in his Guru, and he thought that the only paramount duty for him was to do Guru Seva. And he was continuously engaged in doing Guru Seva. And Shankaracharya used to wait for Giri to be there and then start his pravachana and give bhashya to the Shastras. And one day, it was here in the Sringeri, in the banks of Tunga River, in the beautiful atmosphere where the nature is beautiful and calm. It was filled with the lahari of the presence of Shankaracharya, and all the disciples were waiting. and they had finished chanting the invocatory verses from the Vedas, and they were waiting to listen to the pravachana of Shankaracharya. And Shankaracharya opened his beautiful eyes and was searching for Giri and asked, "Where is Giri?" And one of them told, "He has not yet returned from the banks of Tunga." And when Shankaracharya told, "Let us wait for him to return, and then I will start the lessons," one of the disciples told, "What is the use of waiting for Giri? He will not understand anything. He is such an illiterate. He will not understand. You may start the pravachana." So when this comment came from one of the disciples, otherwise Shankaracharya was very, very calm and peaceful. This comment made him filled with pain, and he remembered Giri. And at that moment, there was an inner transformation in Giri. Shankaracharya had transferred all the jnanam which he had wirelessly to Giri. And Giri, he understood that there was some transformation which had happened, and he came with that luster to the presence of the Guru, and he fell flat at Shankaracharya's feet. And Shankaracharya, he told, "Oh Giri, you are shining with that glow of Brahma Tejas. You are glowing with that light of enlightenment. Get up." And as soon as he got up, he was fully wet with the tears, and spontaneously he sang a beautiful stuti on his Deshika Shankara in a meter called Totaka. After that, Shankaracharya gave him sannyasa, and he was named Totakacharya. And this story, they say, this brings out that it tells us that there is no qualification required to attain the supreme knowledge. It is available to each one of us, and we don't have to think that we are very, very away from this Shakti Lasya, because we are also that part of that very same Shakti Lasya. The only thing that has to be done, that is, we have to realize ourselves to break this notion that we have that this knowledge can be attained by only a few selected few. In Ramana's life, we see a transformation. We see that enlightenment was blessed to everyone, including the Mudaliyar party and also the animal devotees. In one of our dance ballet, Ramana Mahashakti, there is a story of Jackie, which is presented. There is a poetical presentation where the little puppy asks the mother Jackie, which is Liz, mother, seeing that the people from Ramanashram are all praising Ramana. They are telling that in Ramana's presence there is this the fragrance of bhakti. And the little puppy is asking, Amma, what is bhakti? And the mother is telling her, bhakti and all is not for us. It is only for human beings. And they, in the next paragraph, they say, in Ramana's ashrama, there is a jnana which is being given to everyone who comes. And the puppy is going on asking, Amma, what is jnana? Again, the mother is telling, no, that is not for us. All this bhakti, jnana and all are only for human beings, not for us. And in the end, they say, in Ramana's ashrama, we can taste the paramanna payasa sigudu. We get the elixir, the payasam of Paramananda, of limitless bliss. Then Jackie, the little puppy Jackie says, Amma, they say Paramanna payasa. Even I want to eat that Paramanna payasa. Can I not go to Ramana's ashrama? The mother says, no, it is not possible for us dogs to go to this ashrama. They may shoo us away. It is not for us. The mother says, but Jackie has this great desire to go to ashrama, to Ramana's ashrama. And like a guru, in the presentation, we have the another dog, Kamala, coming and telling, that why stay in Ramana's ashrama? And Ramana's ashrama, everybody is allowed. Even you can come. Even you can come. Not only Jackie, the Kamala calls all the other the dogs also to join them in this journey towards Ramana's ashrama. But the other dog says, no, 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 no. This is not for us. All these ashrama and all is not for us. You can take this Jackie, who is yogi. You can take him. So we, like the other dogs, are losing the opportunity to go to the ashrama where everybody is allowed. We think it is not for us, but Jackie was not among us. He went to the ashrama, and when he was disturbed by a stray dog, Ramana gave him the Upadesha also. He told Jackie, if you look outside, you will get disturbed. Look within, then you will abide as the self, and you will attain the fullness of bhakti and jnana, and you will taste that Paramananda Payasa. And we see how Jackie understood this and practiced it and became a self-realized being. And as an epitome of his self-knowledge, we see the samadhis of all these great animal devotees of Bhagavan Ramana. Through this verse, Ganapati Muni and Ramana reminds us that the Guru's grace is ever available. Guru's grace is in the beginning, is in the middle, and is in the end. But we need to do our bit of sadhana. But we need to understand it is only by the grace of the Guru that we can attain that self-knowledge. With that complete faith, let us continue our sadhana with joy and faith in Bhagavan's word. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya.
Namo Ramana. We will now have the sharing of Anma Bodham by Sri Venkatesh Deshpande sir.
Oh. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviram Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jnanamulam Gurur Murtihi, Pujamulam Gurur Padam, Mantramulam Vakyam, Mokshamulam Gurur Kripaha, Mokshamulam Gurur Kripaha. Ramana, getting Manana on Atma Bodha. The last satsang we did Manana on verse number 47. We'll do a little recap of that. A yogi, sage of complete enlightenment, sees with his eye of wisdom the entire universe in his own self and the one self everywhere. Did I see a message somewhere? My video is on. Why are you having a problem seeing my video? Oh. Check with others are able to see?
No, sir. Even we are also not available to see.
We are not able to see.
No, sir.
Really? Right? 1 minute. I'll go out and come back, please. Hold on, please.
Yes, sir, we can see now.
Can you see
We
me?
can't hear. You're on mute. Yeah.
Can you see me now?
See you now.
Okay, great. Thank you. A yogi of complete enlightenment sees with his eye of wisdom the entire universe is in his own self and the one self everywhere. The ignorance of self causes the self to appear as the pluralistic phenomena of the world. When ignorance is removed, you gain the vision of the Supreme Self. Reality cannot be experienced by mere intellectual or devotional feeling alone, but where there is a combination of both discrimination and devotion, you begin to gain an intuitive knowledge of the self. Self-realization is expressed here in a poetic way as a perception by the eye of wisdom. In the state of realization, the enlightened soul views the entire universe as a projection of his own self. It is like the experience of a waker awakening from a dream. The waker realizes that the pluralistic phenomena of his erstwhile dream are only different rays of the one mind of the waker. So long as the dreamer remains in the dream world, he experiences its pluralistic phenomena. But on awakening to the waking plane of consciousness, he realizes the oneness of them all. Similarly, when you go through a total transformation from your limited individualized existence to the state of self-realization, you experience the self and self alone everywhere. So we do Manana on verse number 48 today. I request Sapna to kindly chant the verse, please.
Yes, sir. Namo Ramana. Atmaivedam jagat sarvam atmanyonyanna kinchana mrudo yadvad ghatadini swatmanam sarvamikshate atmaivedam jagat sarvam atmanyonyanna kinchana mrudo yadvad ghatadini swatmanam sarvamikshate. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The whole universe is verily Brahman. There exists nothing other than Brahman. Just as pots do not exist apart from the clay, the enlightened one sees everything as his own self. The idea of an absolute homogeneity into which even the concrete and some substantial world is absorbed is staggering and far beyond human conception. A simple example illustrates the truth. In this example, the universe is compared to the variety of earthen pots, jars, vases, etc., and the Atman to clay, the material with which they are made. Even though the form, size, color, etc. of the pots are distinct and different from one another, they are all in the essence nothing but clay. They have no existence apart from clay. Similarly, the variegated manifestation of perceptions, emotions, and thoughts may seem to have a pluralistic existence of their own, but they are in essence nothing but Atman and Atman alone. And many of us have had this experience of, when you go to a goldsmith Sometimes what happens, our grandfathers, our grandmothers had certain gold ornaments, and those ornaments have gone out of fashion, and we want to get new ornaments made out of that. So we go to a goldsmith. What does the goldsmith do? He does not look at the designs. The designs, you may say, oh, the designs are fantastic. It was a 30-year-old design, a 40-year-old designs. I paid so much money for that design. But what will the goldsmith do? He will put the chain on the weighing scale and said 11 grams of gold. That's what he will say. He will not pay you a penny for the designs. You may say that Hema Malini wore the same design in some movie, but for the goldsmith, it does not make a difference. What does he see? He sees only the gold. And that's very important. So the important thing for us in our sadhana also is to be able to see, because Viveka and Vairagya, discrimination and bhakti are very, very important. So discrimination and Viveka and Vairagya are very, very important in our sadhana. Why? Because you're continuously, what does the mind see? The mind only sees differences. If you open your eyes and see the world, you see differences. You see different names, you see different forms, and that's the way it is. But Bhagavan says that there is a common thread. It's like the pots and the vases, all are made up of clay. But the pots may be, cheaper, the vases may be more expensive. But finally, what are they made up of? They're made up of clay. For the potter who makes the vases or the pots, you go and ask him. He says both are made of clay, nothing else but clay. It may be you're painted on top, it looks different, some are small, some are big, but basically everything is made up of clay. So Bhagavan's trying to tell us through this is to see the similarity. Don't see the differences. Once you start seeing the similarity, then what do you see? That each of us is made up of the 5 elements. Ashtamurti Briddheva Pujanam. Bhagavan says in Upadesa Saram that each one of us is basically the 5 elements. So 5 elements, in the 5 elements, because of the movements of those 5 elements, they've become different shapes, different sizes, and they look different, but basically what are they? They're the 5 elements. And 5 elements is what? Ashtamurti. It's actually, you can pray to them. So it says, that is what? So Bhagavan says, as you keep going, first you remove the differences outside, and you say, oh, everything is actually the same. There's nothing different. Then as you keep going inwards and you do Atma Vichara, then what happens? This outside, this turbulence of the outside stops. When the turbulence of the outside stops, every time you do who am I, then you go to and understand who you really are. You are the clay. You are the self. And then you'll realize that, oh, I am the self. It's like the pots and the vases. Both will realize, oh, you may be more expensive, I may be a little cheaper, but both of us are made up of the same clay. So that's what, as one goes inwards and realizes one is the self, then realizes, oh, the reality of everything is only the self, then there's no differences. That's what he says. Says that in the Atma Bodha, they say that they have no existence apart from clay. Similarly, the variegated manifestation of perceptions, emotions, and thoughts may seem to have a pluralistic existence of their own, but they are in essence nothing but Atman and Atman alone. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Namo Ramana.
Namo Ramana. We'll now have the chanting of Aksharamanamalai by Srimati Radha.
Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல ஓங்கார பொருள் ஒப்புயர்வில்லோய் உனையார் அறிவார் அருணாச்சலம் ஒவ்வை போல் எனக்கு உன் அருளை தந்தென்னை ஆளுவதுன் கடன் அருணாச்சலம் கண்ணுக்கு கண்ணாய் கண்ணின்றி காணுனை காணுவதேவர் பார் அருணாச்சல காந்தம் இரும்பு போல் கவர்ந்தென்னை விடாமல் கலந்தென்னோடிருப்பாய் அருணாச்சலம் கிரியுருவாகிய கிருப்பை கடலே கிருப்பை கூர்ந்தருளுவாய் அருணாச்சலம் கீழ்மேலெங்கும் கிளரொடி மணியன் கீழ்மையை பாழ்சை அருணாச்சலா குற்றமுற்றருத்தென்னை குணமாய் பணித்தாள் குரு உருவாயொளிர் அருணாச்சலம் கூர்வாட்கண்ணியர் கொடுமயிர் படாதருள் கூர்ந்தென்னை சேர்ந்தருள் அருணாச்சலம் கெஞ்சியும் வஞ்சியாய் கொஞ்சமும் இறங்கில்லை அஞ்சல் என்றே அருள் அருணாச்சலம் கேடாதளிக்கும் உன் கேடில் புகழை கேடு செய்யாதருள் அருணாச்சலம் கையினிற் கனி உன் மெய்ரசம் கொண்டு உவகை வேறிக்கொள்ள அருள் அருணாச்சலம் கொடியிட்டடியரை கொல்லுனை கட்டி கொண்டங்கன் வாழ்வேன் அருணாச்சலா அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல 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 அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல அருணாச்சலம் வாழி அன்பர்களும் வாழி அக்ஷரமணமாலை வாழி நமோ ரமணா.
Namo Ramana. We will conclude today's satsang with the Ashtottara puja to Bhagavan. The puja will happen at Sri Dileep Simha's altar. Puja will be performed by Sri Dileep Simha. The chanting of Ashtottaram will be done by Vaibhavji, Prarthana and Uma Sripathy. We will conclude with the Arati song, which will be sung by Pratibha. Namo Ramana.
नमो रमण. भारद्वाज विश्वनाथ विरचितं श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तर शतनामावलिः अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशि यस्योर्मि मात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि. ॐ महासेन महंसेन जाताय नमः. ॐ श्रीरमणाय नमः. ॐ गुरवे नमः. ॐ अखण्डसंविदाकाराय नमः. ॐ महौजसे नमः. ॐ कारणोद्भवाय नमः. ॐ जगद्हितावताराय नमः. ॐ श्रीभूमिनाथस्थलोस्थिताय नमः. ॐ पराशरकुलोत्तंसाय नमः. ॐ सुन्दरार्यतपःफलाय नमः. ॐ कमनीयसुचारित्राय नमः. ॐ सहायाम्बा सहायवते नमः. ॐ शोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः. ॐ स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः. ॐ श्रीमद्द्वादशान्तमहास्थले लब्धविद्योदयाय नमः. ॐ महाशक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः. ॐ परमार्थविदे नमः. ॐ तीव्राय नमः. ॐ पितृपदान्वेषिणे नमः। ॐ इन्दुमौलिना पितृमते नमः। ॐ पितुरादेशतः शौर्णशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः। ॐ तपोमयाय नमः। ॐ उदासीनाय नमः। ॐ महायोगिने नमः। ॐ महोत्साहाय नमः। ॐ कुशाग्रदिये नमः। ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसम्रम्भाय नमः। ॐ सुसन्दृशे नमः। ॐ सवित्रे नमः। ॐ स्थिराय नमः। ॐ तपक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः। ॐ फुल्लाम्बुजविलोचनाय नमः। ॐ चन्द्रिकासितहासश्रीमण्डिताननमण्डलाय नमः। ॐ चूतवाट्यां समासीनाय नमः। ॐ चूर्णिताखिलविभ्रमाय नमः। ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः। ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः। ॐ त्रिगुणातिगाय नमः। ॐ विरूपाक्षगुहावासाय नमः। ॐ विराजदचलाकृतये नमः। ॐ उद्दिक्तनयनाय नमः। ॐ पूर्णाय नमः। ॐ रचिताचलताण्डवाय नमः। ॐ गम्भीराय नमः। ॐ परमाचार्याय नमः। ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः। ॐ अभयप्रदाय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणास्य निभाय नमः। ॐ धीराय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः। ॐ स्वराजे नमः। ॐ महर्षये नमः। ॐ भगवते नमः। ॐ ईड्याय नमः।
ॐ भूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः। ॐ विमलाय नमः। ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः। ॐ आप्ताय नमः। ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः। ॐ समदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्याय नमः। ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः। ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः। ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः। ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः। ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः। ॐ दयार्णवाय नमः। ॐ श्री शोणाचलद्भूतस्कन्दाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः। ॐ सद्दर्शनोपदेष्ट्रे नमः। ॐ सद्भक्तवृन्दपरिवृताय नमः। ॐ गणेशमुनिभृङ्गेन सेविताङ्घ्रिसरोरुहाय नमः। ॐ गीतोपदेशसारादिग्रन्थसञ्छिन्न संशयाय नमः। ॐ वर्णाश्रममतातीताय नमः। ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः। ॐ सौम्याय नमः। ॐ आत्मवते नमः। ॐ सर्वावनिमतस्थानाम् आराध्याय नमः। ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः। ॐ आत्मारामाय नमः। ॐ महाभागाय नमः। ॐ मातृमुक्तिविनायकाय नमः। ॐ विनताय नमः। ॐ विनुताय नमः। ॐ विप्राय नमः। ॐ मुनीन्द्राय नमः। ॐ पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः। ॐ दर्शनादगसंहारिणे नमः। ॐ मौनेन स्वात्मबोधकाय नमः। ॐ हृच्छान्तिकरसान्निध्याय नमः। ॐ स्मरणात्पन्दमोचकाय नमः। ॐ अन्तस्तिमिरचण्डांशवे नमः। ॐ संसारार्णवतारकाय नमः। ॐ शोणाद्रीशस्तुतिद्रष्टे नमः। ॐ हार्दविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः। ॐ अविच्युतनिजप्रज्ञाय नमः। ॐ नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः। ॐ कमण्डलुधराय नमः। ॐ शुभ्रकौपीनवसनाय नमः। ॐ गुहाय नमः। ॐ दण्डपाणये नमः। ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः। ॐ भवरोगविषग्वराय नमः। ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः। ॐ देवतमाय नमः। ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः। ॐ सेनान्ये नमः। ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः।
ॐ श्रीरमण भगवते नमः। श्री अष्टोत्तर शतनाम पूजां समर्पयामि। यस्थाणोररुणाचलस्य पदयोः स्मृत्या जनिं प्राप्यत दिव्यानुग्रह सुप्रवाह विवशस्ताधात्म्यभावं गतः हृन्निष्ठस्वगभीरनित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनास्येकराट् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नम इदं लोकोत्तरज्योतिषे। नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावर्ण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि दर्शन सुख मंगल मुख सकल जीवहित सम्मुख ब्रह्म संगिये सदा तुष्ट सदा हृष्ट सदा शिवानंद पुष्ट परम महर्षि ब्रह्मनिष्ठ समदर्शी नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावर्ण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि ನಮ್ಮ ಮನವದೊಂದು ಕಾಡು ನೀನರಿತೆ ಅದರ ಜಾಡ್ ಹಿತವನರಿತು ನೀಡುತ್ತೆಮ್ಮ ಕೊರೆಯ ತಣಿಸಲೈ ಬೇಡಲೆಂದು ಬಂದ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿಯೇ ತಣಿವೆವಯ್ಯ ಮೂಡಿಗಾರನೇ ಹಿತವ ನುಡಿದು ಕೊರೆ ನಮ್ಮನು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸಂಗಿಯೇ नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावर्ण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि। बोलो भगवान श्री रमण महर्षि की जय।